The DeCavalcante family of New Jersey were often overshadowed by the New York families, and despite this, they carried out brutal and revealing mob murders with the best of them. The following story exposes internal paranoia, the shifting of allegiances, the ever-present rumor mill, and the growing influence of the Gambino family over the New Jersey rackets. The DeCavalcante family operated primarily in Newark, Elizabeth, and northern New Jersey. And while officially independent, they mistakenly deferred to the Gambino family leadership over major disputes and at times guidance. In June 1989, Fred Weiss, a Staten Island businessman, and 3 others were indicted for racketeering, mail fraud, as well as the illegal disposal of waste, including medical waste, which would be dumped in undeveloped land in Staten Island. Some of the companies involved were linked to the Gambino family. And despite Weiss being a DeCavalcante associate, he was a player in this illegal operation. There were 2 key elements that sealed Weiss's fate. The first, he allegedly told friends of his that the indictment was nothing to worry about and that he wouldn't be going to prison. To put the indictment in question into better perspective, all of the defendants were facing 70 years and a $2 million fine if convicted. The second element was that Weiss fired a lawyer who regularly represented Gambino family members and associates. That lawyer was none other than Bruce Cutler, whose job would be not only to defend him, but to monitor his actions. Once Weiss sought independent counsel, it was taken as a red flag, one that suggested he was preparing to cooperate and that his new lawyer would negotiate with prosecutors. So taking into account the alleged comments he made, downplaying the indictment, and suggesting that he wasn't going to prison, the firing of Bruce Cutler, coupled with his knowledge of the inner workings of the waste dumping operation, he was viewed as a major liability. All of the above didn't sit well with John Gotti, who at the time was the Gambino's family's boss. So Gotti ordered Gambino associate Joe Watts to kill Weiss. However, on the day Watts and a hit team went to a Staten Island house where Weiss was expected to be at, he never showed up. Subsequently, in January 2011, Watts pled guilty to conspiring to kill Weiss and received a 13-year sentence. With the first attempt on Weiss called off, John Gotti decided to put the problem in DeCavalcante boss John Riggi's lap. Riggi gave the assignment to Philip Abramo, one of his captains. Abramo then cased the area in Staten Island where Weiss lived. And on September 11, 1989, Abramo and Captain John Damato drove around the area as backup shooters or in case a diversion was needed. The actual hit was assigned to Captain Anthony Rotundo, who ordered Vinnie Palermo, Jimmy Gallo, and Anthony Kappo to carry it out. According to testimony from Palermo, while he was waiting for Weiss to appear, he spotted Abramo and Damato driving around a neighborhood. At some point, Weiss walked out of his house and went to walk over to his parked Jeep when Palermo approached him and shot him several times. Anthony Kappo was the getaway driver that day. In 1990, the Cavalcante boss John Riggi was given a 15-year prison sentence. And at some point from prison, he appointed Damato as acting boss. About a year later, Damato and his girlfriend had a falling out, and in a retaliatory move, she began telling the Cavalcante members that she visited a Manhattan swingers club with Damato where he engaged in drugs as well as homosexual activities. The most serious accusations a person could make in that world. The rumors spread among the DeCavalcante's ruling members, who naturally began plotting to kill Damato. The assignment was given to Anthony Kappo. According to Kappo, he was also given a silencer, but for some reason, he decided not to use it. On January 6, 1992, Kappo and Victor DiCiera picked up Damato about a block away from his girlfriend's house in the Mill Basin section of Brooklyn, the same woman who made the accusations about him, obviously unbeknownst to him. Damato got in the back seat and said, "Let's go eat." Kappo turned around and shot him 2 times in the chest and then twice more to finish him off. His body was wrapped in a tarp and transferred to a farm in Newburgh, New York. According to Anthony Kappo, in and around 1994, he caught wind that the Gambino family distrusted him and was looking to kill him. He claimed the person behind the plot was Jojo Corazzo, who at the time was the Gambino consigliere. Apparently, Kappo was running around wild and deemed uncontrollable. Also, he was allegedly bragging about murders that he was involved in. And naturally, the Gambinos would be concerned about one particular murder, Fred Weiss, in which they ordered. But the hit on Kappo never came to fruition. Jojo had legal headaches around this time, with indictments in New York and New Orleans. In December 1999, Anthony Kappo, along with the DeCavalcante leadership, was indicted for racketeering and numerous charges. Kappo was charged with the murders of Weiss and Damato and 2 others. While facing possible life in prison, he decided to cooperate. Anthony Kappo ultimately died while in the witness protection program in 2012 at the young age of 52. Now, let's take a look at the core issue to everything that transpired. Fred Weiss was definitely talking out of school, but at the end of the day, he was killed on pure suspicion, not evidence. Not using a certain lawyer does not mean that a person's getting ready to cooperate, which, by the way, no proof that Weiss was ever cooperating ever came to surface. John Damato was the acting boss of the family. How anyone took the word of a woman is beyond me. I can personally tell you, I had a woman tell me, "Oh, you don't want nothing to do with me? Now I'm going to go around making up stories about you." So here's a more sensible theory of what took place with Damato. There was jealousy with him being picked as the acting boss over other seasoned guys. The Jersey guys also didn't like that he was getting close to guys in New York, specifically the Gambino family. So, strategically, they spread the homosexual rumor, as well as that Damato was skimming money. Again, no proof, all suspicion and accusations. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. When the decision to kill a guy has to be made, I think more than suspicion is warranted. The Gambinos were suspicious of Anthony Kappo, and I know there'll be people who will say, well, the suspicions were correct. I get it, but it's possible, after hearing that the Gambino family was trying to kill him, coupled with facing life in prison, may have tipped him over the edge. Who knows?